When I was a kid, I used to see more. I don't mean my eyesight was better, just more. Like if I angled the vanity mirrors just right to where they reflected forever and stared hard enough, I could see a wrinkly old man fleeting in one of the corners, hiding so I won't tell on him. My parents gaslighted me all the time, saying I was remembering a dream or imagining things, but I know what I saw. The shadow mice that hide under the bed if you don't clean under it properly, and the snot goblin clinging to unwashed hand towels, just waiting for you to use it on your face so it cling to you instead, making your face icky all day. They were all real, and I don't know why adults don't see them. Maybe because you had to look from the corner of your eye at just the right angle. I learned to keep those things to myself after a while. Dad always told me off for it, especially when I brought up the old beggar woman. She used to sit in the corner booth of our family diner, pretty much the only customer we ever got. Lately, though, she started showing up at home, always sitting there while Mum tapped away at her laptop. I figured the old woman was her guest, so we had to get her something, right? Mum always got her lady friends some red juice from a box when they got together. So, since she was busy, I would get it this time. There was no juice in the fridge, so instead I got the lady some water, but in one of those nice glasses, with ice cubes and everything. The lady said nothing when I placed the glass next to her, but I know I placed it properly. I didn't tip it to spill on Mum's laptop. Honest. The lady didn't even defend me when I got told off and grounded. She just sat there, with a funny smile on her face, and when I pointed at her, my mum practically blew up with threats of, "Wait until your father gets home." At that point I knew better than to mention the old woman to Dad. Saying I was sorry didn't work either, because now Mum needed a new laptop for some new business she's trying out. Mum and Dad always yelled when it was about money. Everything was always too expensive. The next day, when I saw the old woman in the diner, I decided to talk to her. I mean, yes, her clothes were really ratty and torn, but she must have had some money if she came to the diner every day. I got her the menu and told her what was best to order. Also, she should order dessert because she was too thin, and dessert is always great. The woman looked surprised and finally said, "How old are you now? 7? It was so insulting. I wasn't a baby 7-year-old. I was 8, and I could read the menu properly. I even pointed out the dishes while reading the harder words out. The old woman nodded. 8. Pretty old then. Don't worry. Soon you'll be too old for the likes of me. But seeing us was getting harder and harder, eh?" I knew what she meant, but I didn't tell her. I mean, she was an adult, and you never knew with them. You can just say, "Oh, you're getting harder and harder to see. I have to squint and tilt my head just right to find you." Or they'll say you're a baby who can't tell the difference between dreams and reality. Must have been tough with me living here, kid. We all got to live somewhere, though. No use asking why here or why with me. It had to be with someone, and your parents all but invited me. She's a guest, but she'd always been here. I can't remember a time when she wasn't sitting in this booth, or at our dinner table, taking up that one empty seat. Guest? Well, no, not really a guest. I have many names, but I think my favorite is the ghost of poverty, and currently, I'm haunting your family. Even though my parents told me off for yelling, I didn't stop. A ghost. And haunting us. No way. That's why we've been poor then. Why everything is always too expensive. Why Mum and Dad are always working and working. It was her fault. I yelled, kicked, and screamed for her to leave, but all that earned me was a telling off from my parents. I had to do something about it. What do you do to get rid of ghosts? Well, ghosts were people before, right? And if you make people feel like they were unwelcomed, they leave, right? So, it's easy. The next day I talked to my dad into putting my bear in the booth the old woman occupied. Not the small one, the one that was even bigger than me that I got for my birthday. He sat there in her spot, and I placed my other stuffed toys around it, filling up the space with a pretend tea party. There. No place for any ghost to sit. It took a few days. She kept coming back, but I made sure her seat was always occupied. That included the one empty seat at our dinner table. It was now Pink Panther's seat. Fine, kid. I get the message. Remember, you forced me out. Don't you blame me for what happens next. I sat there with my pretend tea party, eyeing her as she left. Right. Who wants to be poor? Go away. At first, my parents told me off for being too old for tea parties, but someone uploaded an image of it to the internet, and suddenly we started to get customers. The stuffed animals tea party became a fixture in our diner. You'd always see different ones, with really cute fake tea sets and food at that booth when you walked in, and people would stop by for a picture with them. It was great at first. We had customers, and my parents didn't yell so much anymore. Mum looked pretty in her new dresses, and Dad was smiling more. It was perfect. At first. Because Mum's new dresses were so fancy, she couldn't wear the green earrings I got her last Mother's Day. I mean, they weren't real diamonds like the ones she got herself, but she said she liked mine last year. She always wore them before. Dad didn't bother going to the parents' meetings either. Said he and Mum had a business meeting that day. They always had business meetings now. They returned my toys and got fancier ones for the new restaurant. The ghost is gone, so I'm fine with that, but I don't like how they're trying to trick people. Dad says they're investors, and you're supposed to talk yourself up to them. That the numbers you show them have to be good numbers, not the real ones, or they won't be interested. Also, you should tell the government your numbers are bad, or they'll ask you for money and taxes, so it's a good lie. A good lie. I kept repeating that, but I wasn't a kid anymore, like when I was 8. 9 years is too old to believe in something like that. It was also old enough to know that fads fade. That we weren't getting customers anymore, yet we seemed to have a lot of money. Where did it come from? And how come my parents were always having business meetings with sketchy-looking people when there was hardly any business going on in the diner? One day, my parents went out together, but only my mother came back. I asked why we weren't calling the police to look for Dad, but Mum just shushed me, saying I was a child and didn't understand money. The thing was, I did. I also understand what life insurance and credit card debt meant. I couldn't see as much anymore, like I did when I was a kid, but there was an empty seat at the dinner table again, and I moved the tea party toys next to the booth at the diner. Now, just to wait and see who would accept the invitation.
Hello listeners, if you enjoyed this story, please check out the author in the description. For more content, leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more sinister readings.